What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and I hope you had a great weekend. Today we are over in Innisgreen and I am building a family home for a family of fairies. And this is the third and most likely final build I am doing with Enchanted by Nature, at least at the moment. I think I'm a little bit burnt out on the new pack already, honestly. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Of course, if you do not forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already. And also comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. I absolutely love to hear from you guys. So those of you that are returning viewers of mine, you are probably a little bit confused as to why I am posting on a Monday. I actually used to post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday before I started a new job about a year ago. And then it just got to be a little bit too much, to be honest, and so I switched from that to posting just twice a week. And then sometimes I didn't post at all. I think I'm finally back into the swing of things to where I feel comfortable enough to be able to post Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays once again. So I'm super excited about that. And I really hope you guys are excited as well. And I hope to see you guys on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from here on out. So as far as today's build goes, I don't necessarily have a story for today's build either, to be honest. I am not very creative when it comes to like fairy stories and occult stories and stuff. I kind of stick with the same old story, so I'm going to spare you guys from having the same story as my very first family home. And so I'm just going to be talking about the different features that we can find in this build. I was finally able to make this white swatch work on these windows, and right now I have this pinkish reddish roof. And does it not look like Princess Peach's castle at the moment? Like, I really feel like it does, and that was almost the vibe I almost went with, to be honest. I really wanted to do some sort of like super cute pink fairy build, and I thought this was gonna be it, to be honest. But once I found the swatch of the exterior wall paint that I decided to go with, it's like gray stone on the bottom and like a deep blue on top. Once I did that, I couldn't go back. I feel like that is such a beautiful combination. Obviously right now it is not the correct combination. I still have the pink roof and stuff, but I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. Obviously, you know, you could tell by the thumbnail, but I feel the need to tell you guys that obviously this pinkish, reddish, orangish, I don't know what this color is, to be honest. Coral, maybe? This roof does not end up staying. Now, don't get me wrong, I do really like this roof swatch, and that's why I ultimately chose it in the beginning. And I kind of like the Princess Peach vibe that it's giving. But like I said, once I went to that other color scheme, the blue on top and the gray stone on the bottom, and then the roof, I ended up doing like a gray swatch too. I thought that was perfect. Like, it looked so good. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I mean, you already seen it in the thumbnail, but it's always different in the video when you can watch it in the video versus just seeing it on the thumbnail. But currently, at this moment, I am picking out different landscaping through debug. And I kind of do a mix of debug and regular build by landscaping that you can find in the catalog. And the reason for that is because debug doesn't have everything that I need, first of all. And second of all, I really like to get the debug landscaping that matches like pack specific and world specific, if that makes sense. Like, I really like the trees, at least. If not the whole landscaping, at the very least the trees. I like to match the entire world so that it looks like it blends in more. I feel like these bushes and like the flowers that you use in your garden and stuff, that is kind of flexible, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. You can really go and be super creative with the flowers and the bushes. I feel like it's not as noticeable if you change up the flowers on the bushes. Like these bushes, the super boxy rectangular bushes that I have around the actual house, you will not find those anywhere in Innisgreen, and I really don't think you'll find these hedgerow bushes in Innisgreen either. But you're more likely to find the hedgerow bushes than those super boxy, manicured, almost fake looking bushes. I really, honestly, I don't love those bushes, but once I placed it down, it totally fits the whole like castle vibe that I'm going for. And it was a super fun change of pace to change up my landscaping skills a little bit and use the bushes that I don't ever use. Also, something to note about these bushes and the hedgerow bushes on the outside of the fence, both of those I used the ones with the fairy lights on them because why not? This is a fairy's house. So I feel like it was the perfect opportunity to load up the lot with these bushes with the fairy lights on there, and I'm so happy that I did because it looks so beautiful at night. The only pet peeve I have about these bushes with the fairy lights is the fact that you really cannot see the fairy lights until you're super up close, which I don't know if I love or hate. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of useful in regards to not having an overwhelming amount of light when you're zoomed out. But then like when you're zoomed out, you don't see it at all. I feel like there could have been a healthy in between where like you don't have to be super close to be able to see the lights, if that makes sense. You guys will probably be able to tell sometimes during the build because I do switch from day to night sometimes so I can see what the place looks like at night. I do like to make sure my builds are nice and lit up at night and not super dark. I might forget to add light sometimes, but I've been doing better about that. But yeah, long story short, I am happy that I ended up using these bushes. Also, something that is different than I normally do is the fact that I use these hedgerow bushes on the outside of the fence, and then on the inside of the fence, I switched it to those super like rectangular and clean bushes. And I really wasn't sure how that was gonna look because I usually like to stick with the same sort of bush just so it doesn't look too busy. But I feel like having one kind on the outside of the fence and one kind on the inside of the fence, it breaks it up enough to where it looks pretty good. It might look a little off right now, but trust me, once I add the rest of the landscaping, it's going to come together. And I do end up adding a pond on this build as well. I feel like there was so much space that I needed to fill, and so a pond was kind of all I could think of to fill it. Plus, I love to build ponds. They are so fun to do, and they're super cute. They're a super cute addition to a build. Like, you can't go wrong with a pond. Any kind of build that you do, you can add a pond. I feel like the only kind of build that would be a little difficult to add a pond would maybe be a modern house, but it's definitely achievable. You just gotta be a little bit creative about it and probably just make it more on the cleaner side. But when I'm doing builds like this, where it's like a fairy tale, you know, you really want like a lot of flowers and a lot of landscaping in general around, and then also any sort of like cottage builds, farmhouse builds, any builds in general that have like a lot of landscaping and pretty flowers and a large garden, I feel like adding a pond makes it feel more complete, if that makes sense. But as of now, I am currently adding the windows on the back of the house and the door on the back of the house. The door on the back of the house, I was a little indecisive on the type of door that I wanted because I'm, you know, the type of person where a sliding glass door for my back door is like my go-to in The Sims and real life too, to be honest. I just love a good sliding glass door. But that does not go with a build like this, to be honest. I almost did it. I almost made myself do it, but once, you know, I placed it and I put it down, I was like, oh, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, a house like this just does not look like it should have a sliding glass door, to be honest. And I'm using only Enchanted by Nature in base game. I'm pretty sure I did not say that, but at this point, you guys are probably, you know, you probably assumed I'm using only Enchanted by Nature in base game, but now, you know, I am in fact only using those 2 packs, or that 1 pack plus the base game. So I have slim pickings on back doors and stuff. So I ended up just using the same door that I used in the front yard for the front door. I used that same one for the back door and I called it a day. I feel like it could work for a back door. It's not like totally weird. People have like regular back doors. I have a regular back door. I don't even have a sliding glass door in this house that I'm living in currently. Doesn't mean I don't want one. But this house just has a regular plain door in the backyard. But yeah, so a little bit indecisive on the back door that I wanted, but I decided just to call it a day after going with this same door that's in the front. It's not ideal. It's a little samey, but that's kind of what happens when you do one pack builds. Things tend to be the same. Something that I tried to make not the same is the pool in the backyard. I figured this is a house full of fairies. They should have a super cool pool, right? Like a super, like, different and pretty and like a weird shape pool. Well, I tried. I really tried to figure out what kind of shape I should do for the pool. You've seen a couple of my failed attempts. I ended up just saying, you know what, this isn't happening. I'm not creative enough to figure out the shape of pool at the moment. And so let's just slap a rectangular pool down. That's pretty much my train of thought, to be honest. Honestly, I thought it would be super cool to have like a fairy winged shape pool, and honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like I could do it now that we have like curved pools and stuff like that. But at the moment, while I was building this, I was done trying to figure it out. So I put a rectangular pool down and I called it a day. I do put like landscaping around and I make it look pretty around there. I do end up adding another like a patio or like a squared gazebo sort of thing right by the pool. So we make the pool area look really pretty. It's just not really what I intended at first, but that's okay. When you build, it doesn't always end up how you first see it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't end up that way, but that's totally fine. That is the fun part of building. One of the fun parts of building. Building in general is so fun. I love it so much. But it doesn't always turn out how you envision it in your mind. So just keep that in mind. If you are a new builder and you think you keep failing, you never fail when it comes to building. Even if it's not the original idea you had in your mind, that's okay. It doesn't always have to be, because what you have in your mind is not always achievable in The Sims anyways. So yeah, just keep that in mind. More times than not, every single build that I do, it turns out different than I originally had it in my mind. And like I said just a moment ago, that is one of the fun parts of building. But on another note, we are working on the kitchen in this build. And at first when I was building this and I was doing the separate like rooms for the floor plan, I was thinking that this is a massive kitchen and I don't know how I'm gonna fill it all up. But once I started putting down the countertops and stuff, and I knew that blank wall area, I knew I wanted to put an island there. I didn't know it was gonna be this big, but honestly, I love it. I love the way the island turned out. It makes the kitchen look so like, I don't know if homey's the word, to be honest, but I like it a lot. I think it's super cute, and I can see this family just sitting there for like breakfast or lunch or maybe a snack, or just sitting there talking to their mom or dad while they're cooking dinner. And then that little like octagon room off to the side, that I didn't know what else to put there, to be honest. So that is another breakfast nook seating area. It's different than the counters. It's an actual table, so you kind of have a choice there. And we also have a formal dining room over when you first walk in. We'll see that in a little bit though. As far as this kitchen's concerned, yes, fairies do not have to eat. I do understand that, and I knew that as I was building this, but I'm pretty sure they can eat, and if they have any like mortal guests that come over or family members, then they can cook them a meal, and their mortal friends or family, they don't have to starve and die. So they have a kitchen just in case somebody needs to eat. And I feel like, you know, what fairy wouldn't like coffee? I don't know. I don't think that's even a thing, but I wanted to add a coffee maker over in this area because I felt like this was like the perfect area to add like a coffee station. Like in real life, I would love to have like a coffee station, like a whole set of like cabinets off on the side of my kitchen, or like in the back of my kitchen, or on one part of my kitchen there's like a set of cabinets that's just kind of there and there's no like fridge or stove or sink over there. I think that is the perfect location to have a coffee station. And I love coffee, honestly. Like, I'm drinking coffee right now. You probably can tell I'm a little bit hyper, but I am a coffee drinker every morning, and so that's like right up my alley to have a coffee station. So when I can do that in The Sims, whether it's a fairy build, regular sim build, a witch, a mermaid, it doesn't matter. If I have the perfect area to add a coffee station, I'm gonna do it. I'm also adding a lot of these houseplants everywhere in the kitchen, so if the fairies don't actually eat anything, you know, they have houseplants here in the kitchen. They still have to go in the kitchen to do something. So it's not a completely useless area, I guess, in other words. So this part over here, like the actual tower part, octagon tower, I really don't know what you call that part on a castle. And I'm calling this a castle. It's not really a castle. It's just like a fairy tale type of build with like a castle vibe. But this tower part, which I'm pretty sure that's what you call it, but anyways, this tower part, I ended up cutting out the roof on the top level because you can't actually get to the top level. So I figured that was the perfect opportunity to actually cut that part of the roof and have like a super tall ceiling with a light fixture at the very top. And I used the branch light fixture because I think it's super cute. And this is a fairy build after all. It is a more like classy fairy build, I guess is how I could describe it. It's not like my last build where it's like one with nature, where like the actual house is built with everything from nature, from wood to mud to like flowers and stuff like that. This is more of like a classy and homey and like super like nice castle-esque house for a fairy. So I really wasn't sure how these branches looked with this type of fairy build, but honestly, it doesn't have to make sense. It's like, it's a house for a fairy. It doesn't have to make sense. And ultimately, I thought it looked good enough for me to keep the branch light fixtures, and I will never be able to use them in any other build other than like a fairies build or a fairies house or any sort of like nature or garden-y build. Other than that, I'll never be able to use it again. I will never be able to use that branch in a suburban build. Like, that's not gonna make any sense at all. So I really wanted to use these Enchanted by Nature items as much as I can while I'm building with this pack and only this pack, so I can get it kind of out of my system. Well, we have completely finished the kitchen area and that other breakfast nook. I do end up adding a nature press in the breakfast nook at one of the seats just because I came across it and I didn't even know that existed. Like, I came across the nature pressed portraits for the wall, but I didn't know that your sim could actually press it, if that makes sense. I thought it was just like picture frames that came with the pack, but then I came across the nature press and I was like, oh my god, that is so cute. So I really wanted to add it somewhere, and the only place I really could think about was adding it in that like breakfast nook in the kitchen in the tower part. I placed it on one of the chairs on that little table, and I figured one of the Sims that lives here, probably the mom, she really likes to garden and she has a little greenhouse in the backyard also, and so the plants that she grows, she uses that to press with her nature press. So I thought it was just a cute little detail I could add. We are now over in the living room, and as you could probably tell, I am struggling with the color scheme of this living room. I almost did that super busy wallpaper that I have in the little like hallway part where the back door is. I do end up changing that to this half blue, half white also is what I believe I stick with. But I really like that busy wallpaper, to be honest. I feel like, I don't know, it looked really elegant and I didn't even know it existed. Like the nature press, I didn't know that wallpaper existed either, and that wallpaper has been in this game. It's like part of base game, so it's probably been there since 2014 when this game was released, and I just now came across it. Like, I always seen it in the catalog, okay? I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know this particular swatch existed, and I really like it. I think it's super pretty. I do keep it in the breakfast nook outside of the kitchen, and I also keep it in the dining room, I believe. And yeah, I really like it. I really wanted to keep it in the living room, but once I placed that rug down, it was too much going on. So I really needed like a simple wallpaper. I was indecisive on the living room at first, but once I placed all of those couches down and that rug and the coffee table, I put a plant and some candles on the coffee table. I think it looks pretty cute. It's super like simple and classy, and it doesn't look like it's used often, but I think it looks super cute and it fits this build in general. And of course I had to use pillows on the couches as well. Now that we have those pillows in base game, it was part of the quest, so I don't think everybody has access to it, unfortunately, if you didn't do that particular quest. I don't remember which one it's from, to be honest. There's been so many of them, but it was a reward you got from a quest, so you may or may not have the pillows, but I have them and they're considered base game, so I definitely take advantage of that. Like, they make couches look so much better when you add them on a couch, and so of course I had to do it. I just really wish that they would add more pillows for couches in base game in particular, not a pack in base game, so that we don't have only these solid ones. Like, I want some with designs on it too. Sometimes I'll use the one from one of the kits. Don't remember which one. Have too many of those too, to be honest, but I do like to use the combination of a solid with a design. I think it makes it look a lot better and detailed. So yeah, I wish that they would add some detailed pillows in the base game for us to use. More of a selection, you know? But we got the very first bathroom done, and super simple bathroom. It's not special whatsoever, but one thing to note is that I did put a couple of robes up on the wall, and I figured that those robes belong to the two children that live here. We have one teen, and then we have one child that lives in this house. So yeah, obviously the one that is sized down is for the child, and I thought it was a super cute detail to size it down so that it's obvious that it's for the child, because what child is going to need an adult-sized robe? But the bigger one that is actually adult-sized is for the teenager. So yeah, I thought that was a cute little touch. And we also have like a huge hallway right in front of the back door that I didn't really know what to do with, if we're being totally honest, so I decided to get a piano out and just place a piano there. And once I did, it fit perfectly. Too perfect not to use, to be honest. And so I just placed the piano there and I called it a day. I do end up putting a rug underneath it though. Yep, there it is, the circular rug, and that rug fit perfectly. So we are now working on the formal dining room. At least that's what I'm calling it. It's not really going to be used, to be honest. Fairies don't really eat, but like I said earlier, if they do end up having any guests over or family members that are mortal sims, there's a place for them to sit and eat. And even just fairies could sit here and like talk and chat. Maybe, you know, they have some fairy dust that they can absorb, and that's like kind of their food, basically, is what I get from the new pack, is that they need emotions to survive, just like regular sims need food to survive. So I feel like the emotions replace the hunger need. Which, before now, I never put two and two together. I was always confused as to why they didn't need to eat, but they needed emotions. But now it totally makes sense. The emotions replace the hunger need. Okay, yeah, it makes sense now. But could we just take a moment to talk about this flooring? I have never used this flooring yet. Maybe I used it one time. I can't remember what build. It might have been last October. I think I made a witch's house, and I think I might have used this flooring, but I don't remember if I did for sure or not. I haven't used it since then. Like, I used it one and only one time, if any, and never again. So I figured this was the perfect time to use this flooring. I feel like it kind of gives like a fairy tale storybook magical vibe, and I love it. Once I placed it down, I placed it on the outside first, on like the wraparound balcony, and then I placed it inside, and I feel like it is so pretty, and it adds such a magical storybook feel on the inside, and I love it. I almost changed it to a regular wood, and once I did that, I was like, oh no, I know for a fact that squared like the square design wood flooring is definitely the way to go. And can you imagine if you've seen this flooring in real life and you've seen someone actually putting this flooring in, and it's with like real wood, the kind of craftsmanship it would need to be able to do a design like this. I feel like it would take so long and it would be so monotonous. Like, you would have to do like so much cutting to achieve a look like this. Like, it would be so much work, but honestly it would be worth it probably. Like, I would never do it. I would pay somebody to do it, but I would never do it. It just looks like so much work, and whoever would do that in real life would be like so talented in my opinion. But anyways, we are now upstairs and we are working on the master bedroom. Before I talk about the master bedroom, I just want to take a brief moment to explain the tower part on the bottom level on this side. So this side, there's 2 towers in this build. There's one on the left side, one on the right side. This is the one on the right side of the build, and this is the taller one. So if you recall, the one on the left side is the shorter one, and I cut out the ceiling in that tower so that it would be a very nice tall ceiling, and it would almost be like a 2-story room so that you could see up on the very top, and I put the light fixture on the very top. So this side is a little bit different. On the bottom story, it's just a regular room with a ceiling, like not a super tall ceiling, just a regular ceiling. And I ended up putting a bar in there, just a tiny singular bar, because that's the only one that would fit. But also, it was all I could think to put in there too. Like, I didn't want to put another table yet again in that room, and so I figured a bar would be the best way to go. And it had to be the small one, to be honest. But this second level where the master bedroom is, that part of the tower, I ended up putting a computer desk in there. I figured dad or mom, they work from home sometimes, and that is their office that they work in. And that is the one that I actually cut the ceiling out of. So that is the one, it's almost like the other tower where the breakfast nook is, but it's on the second level. And it has a cutout ceiling with a light fixture at the top too. So it's kind of the same as the other one, but it's on the second story instead. I hope that makes sense. I'm not the best at explaining things sometimes, but you guys see what I'm trying to say. But we have finished the parents' room. So the mom, her interests are gardening. She just really loves to garden, and that's pretty much all she likes to do. She also likes to play with her, fairy powers too. What fairy wouldn't like to do that, right? I haven't done the greenhouse yet. There is a greenhouse outside that I do towards the end, and that is where mom spends a lot of her time. Now, as far as dad is concerned, he is really into the apothecary skill, and he makes different cures and medicines and sells those for money. And so, yeah, I said he works from the house sometimes in his little like tower thing where the computer desk is, but I guess that's not entirely accurate because he does apothecary. But maybe he goes and he finds customers online. So I guess he could work from the house theoretically, but if not, then they have a computer for entertainment needs or to order anything online. I just always like to add a computer in every build because computers are almost necessary for gameplay purposes. Like, you have to order some things online. If you need medicine, really anything, like upgrade parts, literally anything that you need, you can order online. So I like to add at least one computer in each of my builds. With that being said, we have more than one. We have 2 because the teen has one in her room too. Because what teen doesn't want their own computer in their room? Fairy or not, a teen is a teen. They want their own computer. Now, as far as the teen's interest goes, she's really into painting, and that's all she really likes to do. She likes to hang out with her friends, play computer games, practice her fairy powers too, but she really loves painting, and that is what she wants to focus on as her career when she grows up. She doesn't want to go to college or university or anything like that. She's already pretty good at what she does, and so she really hopes she can make a career out of selling her paintings. And since she's really focusing on her painting as a career when she's older, she's been kind of on her parents about dropping out of high school. Not the greatest idea, you know. You might think you have it all planned out as a teenager, but you really don't, to be honest. So her parents are totally against her dropping out of high school. They said, listen, yes, you're good at painting, but you can't rely on that, okay? What if that doesn't work out and you're a high school dropout? What are you going to do for work then? I mean, that's really not a good plan. So you need to finish high school so that you at least have a high school diploma so that you could get some sort of decent job if this painting doesn't work out for you. So in other words, no, you cannot drop out. Now, as far as the child's interests, she honestly is a normal child, but she also has a creative gene too. So she's really into drawing on her little activity table, and she also loves to hang out in the garden with her mom and swing on the swing set that's right next to her mom's greenhouse. And as much as she loves to draw and create on her creativity table, she actually wants to be like her mom when she grows up and do a gardening business and sell all of her plants and maybe do a little bit of apothecary on the side like her dad. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for the child, to be honest. We are completely done with the furnishing on the inside of the house. I do have to furnish the porch that we have, the wraparound porch, which when I first started this build, the wraparound porch was a must-have for me to do, and I also wanted to have those towers. And I really love how I have the wraparound porch around the tower that is on the right side. I think that is so cute, and I absolutely love the way that it turned out. And to be totally honest, I don't remember what I ended up putting on the porch. I think I put a couple of benches, like some in the front of the porch and then some in the back, I believe, maybe none in the back. And then I end up adding a chess table on the side. I'm pretty sure that is what I ended up going with, but don't mark my words, I might be wrong. I really don't remember what I put on this one. I do have another build coming up with a wraparound porch like this one because I thought it turned out so cute. I wanted to do another one, so I'm getting kind of confused on what I put on this porch and what I put on the other one, to be honest. So yeah, just a little disclaimer, I don't exactly remember how I decorated this one, but it is decorated very cute, and that is all that matters. We are now finally finishing up the landscaping on the outside. I absolutely love these trees that came with Enchanted by Nature. You can find them in the debug catalog. They're kind of like, I don't know, they're magical looking. I love the way that they look. They're super branchy, and there's something about them that I absolutely love. I think they're one of the cutest trees ever. And I also have one of the trees that has like the white flowers. It almost looks like cotton to me for some reason, but I do have that on the other side where the wraparound porch is. And if you are playing like at sim level on the porch, you can see the tree there and it looks so good. I absolutely love going into like sim mode on, like, you know, go down to sim level at the end of my builds and see what it looks like. I think it looks so awesome. I absolutely love to do that. It just makes it look a lot more realistic, and you can really see how detailed a build is, like especially in the garden when I have twists and turns and like decorations everywhere. It's so fun to go down to sim level and look at it. I don't know why it enthuses me so much, but it does. We also have finished the pool area, and I added that like square gazebo I was talking about earlier, and I just added like some couches there just for a little hangout area, nothing really special, but I did put a ceiling fan there as well because you guys know, if you're a returning viewer, you know I think ceiling fans outside is a luxury, okay? I don't know why, but it just seems like an upgraded amenity to me. And so I do it in fancy builds. And as far as the pool goes, I guess I did do a little bit of a different shape. I ended up just doing a regular rectangle, but then once I added the lawn chairs, it was a little bit uneven, and I love for things to match and be even if I can do it. And so I ended up making it almost like an L-shaped. Not a huge L shape, but there's a little bit of a dimension there so that it matched evenly with the lawn chairs. And so it's a little bit of a unique shape, I guess. I mean, more unique than a rectangle. Which I guess isn't necessarily saying a lot, but anyways, other than the pool and the gazebo, I also added a grill and a little like umbrella table and chair set, and that's pretty much it. There wasn't much else to add. I would have added a diving board if we had one, but that is only in Get Together, I believe. We don't have that in base game, which that is kind of lame too. Like, why don't we have a diving board? And why don't we have a regular diving board? Why does it have to be the one that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of tall. Like, I wish we had one lower to the ground. And while we are on the subject of pool items I wish we had in the game, particularly base game, why don't we have a pool slide yet? Like, we have a slide that came with the treehouse for growing together, but why don't we have a slide for the pool yet? Like, we had one in The Sims 2, it came with seasons. I feel like now that there's a slide animation with the treehouse, they totally could add that so easy for the pool. But I'm sure that's going to be locked behind some sort of expansion pack. But honestly, at this point, add it in an expansion pack. I don't care. I just really wish we had a pool slide. Like, that would make some of these houses so much better, especially my suburban dream house that I made last week or the week before. That would have been so perfect to add a pool slide, but unfortunately we do not have them. If you guys happen to make it this far into the video, comment down below if you are like me or not like me and you want a pool slide in The Sims, because I'm pretty curious. Is that something that you guys want as well, or am I the only one? But as of right now, we are almost done with the landscaping. I'm done with the front part of the yard. And I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I'm using these like fern bushes mixed with the blue hydrangeas, and I usually go for white hydrangeas, but I figured the blue, once I put the blue down, it looked so magical and pretty and matched the blue that I have on the second story of the house. So I thought it was perfect to use the blue hydrangeas. It was a nice change of pace for me as well. There's something about the hydrangeas that just, it works for a magical build, whether it's a cottage house or a farmhouse that has a huge garden or this fairy house, some sort of fantasy build. Hydrangeas just make it look so magical. That part of Hinford on Bagley and like the downtown area where a lot of the festivals are, there is a certain part that has like a lot of like sidewalks, like all curved through this hydrangea garden, and there's like, I think it's blue, pink, and purple hydrangeas, if I'm not mistaken, like a combination of those, and that is one of the prettiest areas I have seen in the game. There's something about it where the hydrangeas are like all around curvy sidewalks and it looks almost like a maze. I don't know, I love that area. I think it's so pretty, and ever since I came across that area in Hinford on Bagley, I fell in love with hydrangeas, and I use them as much as I can, especially when I have like curvy sidewalks like that. I think it's perfect. But we are finally working on the greenhouse I was talking about. So this is Mom's greenhouse, and she has a lot of different flowers growing in here. She has an apple tree, and she also has some plants that came with Enchanted by Nature. Forgive me, the only one I can remember the name of is the lightning root, but I don't know what the other two are. But you can probably tell which one it is. It's like the 3 on the other side. I have 1 bird of paradise in that planter box, but the other 3 are the Enchanted by Nature plants. And so I figured that Mom grows a lot of the apothecary ingredients that Dad needs for his apothecary skill, as well as a bunch of flowers and stuff that she sells for some extra money. I tried to think of the most expensive plants, to be honest, and put those in her garden. I think I did a death plant, I did a bird of paradise, I did orchids, and I think tulips, and a rose bush, I believe. Kind of a mixture of all of the most expensive ones. And of course I cheated and I pulled them off of the gallery. So if any of you guys are watching that puts perfect plants on the gallery, thank you guys for your contribution. You are so helpful to builders. Oh, and I also placed some more garden planter boxes outside as well, and I did not fill those up. Those are completely empty, so if you do want to download this off of the gallery, which is available at this time if you're interested, then once you download this and you actually start your gameplay, you can put whatever plants there that you want. But at this point, I have pretty much explained everything there is to talk about in the build. I am just finishing up some last minute landscaping in the back and also some terrain paint. Other than that, everything is pretty much self-explanatory, and I will leave you to enjoy the rest of this build on your own. Make sure you stay tuned for the screenshots at the end. I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. Of course, if you did, please leave a like so I know that you enjoyed it and you are looking forward to more builds just like this one. Also, subscribe if you have not already. I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys!